Welcome to Sitcom Showdown, a podcast that reviews classic sitcom episodes and inducts them into our very own Hall of Fame. As usual, one of us has chosen a sitcom episode and the other guy has no idea what it's going to be. Will they already know it? Will they love it? Can they be convinced that it's worthy? Let's find out on the Sitcom Showdown. Welcome back to Sitcom Showdown, as Jeff is here, and Steve, you're there too.
Yep. Yes. Hello, everyone.
We're going to be rushing through it quite a little bit today because, for technical reasons, we have time constraints for this Halloween episode and the next Halloween episode, which we don't even have time to explain, even though it is very interesting. Anyway, Steve, have you got anything to say before I let people know what episode we've got for the first of the Halloween pair in this month of October 2018?
Nothing to say.
Nothing to say?
I'm just waiting with bated breath to find out what it is.
Right.
So, what is it?
I have selected a Season 10, Episode 7 of a series you'll know called Cheers.
Ah.
Yeah. So, what this is called is Bar Wars 5, The Final Judgment. And...
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so here's a bit of background on Cheers, and then I'll give you more specifics. So
this could be a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Bar Wars.
Yeah, exactly. What's Bar Rescue is the show I have watched. More episodes of Bar Rescue by a factor of about 5 than I have of Cheers. Believe it or not.
So you've watched five of them?
No. Well, I'll explain later. We haven't got time for this, Dave. So Cheers ran from 1982 to 1993 for 275 episodes. My goodness. TV Guide ranked it at number 11 in the 50 greatest shows of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2013, the Writers Guild gave it the 8th best written TV series.
Yeah.
Blimey, you know, I mean, I knew Cheers was popular, but lots of sitcoms are popular, and, you know, quite a few have run for 10 years, but you wouldn't see Married with Children, which ran that long, getting these sorts of accolades.
No, this is up there, this one.
All right, so it's set in a bar in Boston, and it revolves around a cast of regulars at the bar, which is called Cheers, and the staff who include, this is the staff, Woody, who's the bartender, Rebecca, who's the manager, it's not Shelley Long, it's Kirstie Alley. Cheers.
Yep.
Carla, the waitress, and Sam, the owner, a former pro baseball player. And it's got an all-star cast. Steve, who's in the all-star cast?
Who's the guy that went on to be in the other show? Oh my goodness!
You don't
He's
mean
the psychiatrist, right?
Frasier.
Yeah,
Kelsey Grammer. Yeah.
Start there.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, since you've brought him up, it's interesting because Cheers ran from 82 to 93, and then the spin-off Frasier took over, which ran for 11 seasons itself and was super popular and won more awards. You know, so if you count that as the Cheers universe ran
22 years.
Yeah, so 82 to 2004. Can you name any other cast members and who they played?
Well, Ted Danson.
Yep.
This is the second appearance for Ted.
Yep.
Being in The Good Place not so long ago.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Well, Kirstie Alley, she was in a number of TV shows.
Yeah, she had her own sitcoms.
I can't remember any of them.
Yeah. And then there's Woody Harrelson.
Of course.
Yes, the movie star.
And wasn't he actually called Woody in the show?
Yeah, he was. I mean, I'm assuming you know more about Cheers than I do because you've watched it.
Yeah. A bit.
Okay, so it was on the NBC network in the USA. I have no personal story. I knew of Cheers. Everybody knows of Cheers, and I've probably only watched about 5 or 6 episodes in my whole life. So there you go.
Well, how did you find your way to this?
Oh, wow.
As an example of Halloween goodness.
So I just looked up, lists of great Halloween episodes.
Yep.
And I checked out, because I wanted to do shows I'd never watched or seen very little of. So I checked out things like Wings and all these sort of 80s, 90s American sitcoms. And I waded through some atrocious crap, let me tell you, about a dozen different sitcoms. So I stumbled on this Cheers one, and I thought, God, this has impressed me so much, especially we'll get into that afterwards, but yeah.
Yeah, come on. Steady.
Yeah.
Don't get too carried away.
Well, I was expecting, after all the disappointments I'd had, I got to Cheers, and I just went, oh my goodness. We're ready to watch this. I don't have anything to add. Do you have anything to add before we watch it?
No, I'm keen to just dive in.
All right, let's go off and do that.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Come on, you don't really believe that Gary's dead, do you? Do you? I beg your pardon. You were there. You saw with your own eyes what happened.
This is Gary we're talking about. You can't trust him, ever.
He's pulling a stunt.
The police and the coroner confirmed it, Sam.
He could have hired them to trick us. Sam, I realize that Gary's death is very traumatic for you, and you're obviously in denial.
No, I am not. I can't believe you guys. I'll tell you what, I'll believe he's dead as soon as they bury him.
Gary's funeral's at 2 this afternoon.
This is a good one. This is a good one.
You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
So we've just come back from watching Bar Wars 5, Cheers, Series 7, Series 10, Episode 7, I should say. Anyhow, I'll give you a quick rundown of what happened. But in a sense, there's three plots. You got the main plot is the prank war between Cheers and Gary's Old Town Tavern, and what Halloween pranks are they going to pull on each other. You got a subplot of Frasier and his wife debating whether to take their tiny son trick-or-treating, but that's over with real quick. And the smaller things of Woody's pumpkin carving and Rebecca's trick-or-treating trauma from childhood, where she was never allowed to accept candy off other people or go out and trick-or-treat. She had to just stay home and hand out candy to other people.
Which intersects with the child storyline.
The Frasier's,
rather
Freddie,
nicely.
Yeah, it does. But they're very minor, aren't they, compared to the main ones? Anyway, I'm going to take this from IMDb, and it says, Halloween is upon the gang at Cheers, and while Rebecca remembers how her family never celebrated the holiday, Frasier and Lilith come to heads about having young Frederick take part in the holiday. But then they decide to dress up for the day. Now, would young Freddie there, Steve, you know how old kids are. I'd say he was, 2? Or was he only 18 months?
Yeah, I'd say 18 months.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyhow, meanwhile, the Cheers bar, they're bracing for Gary of Gary's Old Tavern to prank the bar. And they find out he has when a customer fires up the jukebox, and it's not only set to full volume, but it's playing this sort of spooky Halloween song.
Yep.
And he goes to unplug it, and it doesn't work, and all the lights go out, but it keeps playing, and so Sam has to grab his baseball bat and smash the poor old jukebox.
I thought it was a bit of an extreme reaction.
Yeah. Oh, man. And then he goes, I'm going to ring up Gary, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind, and he picks up the phone, and the music comes blasting out.
Yeah.
And then he puts the phone down, and then, anyhow, so the first shots have been fired in the prank war, but then Gary comes into the bar and tells Sam and the gang that, look, I know I got you guys, and I see you've smashed the jukebox, but don't worry, I'll pay for all the damages because I need to call all this off because I saw the doctor today and he said I've got ridiculously high blood pressure. What was the number? 225 over one something. He gave a ridiculous number, and he sort of said, Sam, seriously, dude, I can't be involved in this. It's not good for me. And Sam's like, yeah, okay, look, no worries. We don't want to risk your health for this thing. And, they just forget it all.
Gently kind of ushers him out the door.
Yeah. And then as soon as he leaves, says, we're going to get him good, man. So the gang assumes it's another attempt by him to lull them into a false sense of security and attempt, but it's mainly Sam driving this. Yes. Anyhow, they're running through some ideas of what to do to Gary's bar, and Lilith and Frasier have friends in the scientific community who muck about with holograms, so they arrange for a hologram of Carla's disembodied head to be put up in, to appear spookily in midair over at Gary's bar. So once they've had word that it's been set up, they sort of sneak over to Gary's to
Hang on, was it Gary's bar?
Yeah, Gary's bar.
Okay.
So they arrange to go over so they can sort of say, ha, we got you a beauty, and see the effect it had on them, the way Gary did to him. And they go in there and they find Gary unconscious on the floor, but then Frasier checks him out, and and there's some funny bits in there, and it turns out he's dead. But Sam refuses to believe this. But even over the next few days, after the police and coroners confirm Gary's dead, and Gary's bartender stops by to give Sam some stuff that Gary left to him, and Sam's still going, no man, this is all crap, he's totally trying to scam us. And
But other people are not so convinced anymore.
No, they know it's the real thing. It's basically.
Well, Sam's saying, "I'll believe it when he's buried in the ground."
Yeah. And then
Woody
next
walks straight
up-
in and says, "Yeah, the funeral's at 2."
Yeah. And then we have some great scenes where they're all off at the funeral, and Sam's still saying, "Oh, he's going to pop out of the box any minute now." And then they ask him to be a pallbearer, and he's just basically mouthing off and being generally obnoxious. And
He's
then,
fully primed for this big prank to be played on him, which doesn't happen.
No, and even to the point where, and we'll get into this later, about him being at the graveside and expecting Gary to come out of the dirt and start pranking him. They get back after the burial, and Sam sort of comes to terms with the fact that he was a little bit culpable in poor old Gary's
Actually
demise.
killing him.
Actually killing him. All right, fair enough, actually killing him. And everyone's sort of very sad, and Woody gets all upset, and he's crying, and he goes off to the loo, and sort of Sam's all like, "Oh, come on, Woody, just come out of there and stop crying. It's all right. We've got to get through this," and goes to get him, and he's ushering Woody back out of the loos, and it's Gary in a wig who goes, "Ha ha, I got you a beauty."
They did the switcheroo
Yeah.
in the dark
They
room.
totally did. And it turns out that they all organised this prank, super prank, mega prank against Sam. End of episode.
Yep.
Hey!
He got well and truly taken in.
Oh, he totally did. Okay, so as mentioned, Steve, I had gone through a lot of episodes trying to find this, and I was very impressed with it. And as someone who doesn't know much about Cheers, I just thought, okay, I'm going into this, I know there's a dude called Norm, and I know there's, Rhea Perlman's there as the waitress and so on.
Ooh.
But they did a really good job of basically writing an episode where someone can come in, let's say, knowing virtually nothing, and still it establishes who the characters are very effectively and quite well without them being cliches or anything.
Yep.
And so I there was no lag. I could just go straight in and enjoy the episode, and it had good gags. What do you want to do? Do you want to go through gags or some observations or what?
Happy to follow your lead. I've got a few things written down, but if you want to start with some gags, and I can
I will.
work around that.
Well, let's start with the Frasier stuff, because there's some typical Frasier in here. I really like how indignant he is. He walks in full costume, and Lilith's there in her costume, and young Freddie. And he just can't believe they don't know who he is in his 18th century garb.
It's a little niche.
And what did
Shall
he
we
say? "I'm Dr. Gabriel Rossetti." Like, you idiots, don't you know who this obscure person is?
Wasn't it their favourite pre-Raphaelite personage of some description?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
completely
pretty cool.
obscure.
Yeah. There were lots of good Frasier moments. And another one was actually brilliant where Sam is saying, Gary was a good friend, and he gives this lovely little speech about how he was wrong. And Frasier goes, "Well, that would have been a better eulogy than get out of there, Gary." I've got more, but I shall hand over to you.
Ooh. What have I got? Well, I like the one thing we haven't mentioned is that this was actually part of an ongoing series of episodes. I guess it might have been a Halloween
Tradition?
thing where every year they had this ongoing prank war. So
Yep.
this is presumably the 5th one in the series, but there could be more. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's obviously we're coming at it having not having seen that series of episodes, but it would have made the whole thing much more sweet.
Yeah.
If you'd know that Sam had got Gary and Gary had got Sam back and forth for years and years and years, and that's why Sam's just not believing that this guy, Gary guy's dead and all this sort of stuff.
So it would have added more power to it, you think?
Yep.
Yeah, I reckon
Absolutely.
totally.
Plus you would have had the bit where Sam has finally accepted that Gary might be dead, or is dead.
Yeah.
That would have paid that off a bit better as well.
Yeah.
But I think it worked perfectly.
Not
as it
knowing.
was.
I agree.
Is Sam actually any good at this prank business? Because not only are all of their attempts to do Halloween themed pranks, apart from the actual hologram, completely pathetic, like the bloody thumb we've already talked
Oh,
about.
yeah, and he suggests ordering the Chinese food and getting it delivered to his
Yep.
bar. Other
Fake vomit
lameness.
was another one.
Soaping his windows,
Soaping the windows, pathetic.
whoopee cushions.
Yep. I don't know, none of them seem particularly
No, Sam's obviously no good at this
hard
stuff.
hitting.
You'd think he put a bit of prep in, but no.
No.
No. So
Whereas Gary's obviously been working on this for months.
oh, yeah.
Not only has he got everyone in Cheers lined up and ready to go,
And the
it's a
police.
coordinated effort,
And the coroner.
and the police and the coroner. He's booked to the
the graveyard.
obviously
The funeral
booked
home.
the funeral home, and
He's probably blown about 10
the hard
grand
work.
on this thing.
Yeah, exactly. What Sam got?
Nothing. Yeah, fake vomit.
Yeah. Oh, let's get some soap and put it on the window.
He's
It's
outclassed.
pathetic.
Oh,
It's
man.
pathetic.
That's true.
I'll hand back to you.
So they visited Gary's, and the hologram's there, and they're all admiring it, and Sam's going, this is fantastic. I can't wait to see Gary freak out over this, and then trips over a body on the floor, and he just calmly goes, oh, look, there he is.
Yeah.
It was beautifully delivered. And at the very end, he's standing over Gary's grave, and it's hours after he's been buried, still expecting him to pop out, and sort of Fraser and must have been Cliffy have come to
Cliff.
drag him away. And he just drops to his knees. He goes, you're milking it, Gary.
Yeah.
Get out of there. What are you doing? And you just, oh, my goodness.
He knows he's not going to be able to sleep tonight waiting for the punchline to this prank.
Absolutely. He's becoming a nervous wreck, isn't
Let's not drag it out anymore. Let's get it over and done with.
Oh.
It's Sam and Frazier. And Sam's starting to think, oh, maybe he's actually dead. And he says, what if he's really dead? And Frazier says, this is after they've been to the funeral. Well, the thought had occurred to me, Sam.
Yeah, that was the last one I had on my list. It's just a beautiful line.
Yep.
And the way Kelsey Grammer delivers it, I'll tell you what. Well, I'm going to go into my main points here, and then I'll let you have some more stuff, because we've got to wrap this up,
All right.
Steve, unfortunately.
Go for it.
It wasn't tired at all, I didn't think, as a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
If this is any indication of where they are 10 seasons in, didn't seem like it was running out of steam.
No, I really enjoyed it.
Plenty of good jokes.
One of the things I liked about it was, obviously you're enjoying the comedy of the whole thing, back and forth, but you're not really sure,
No.
has he died or hasn't he died?
And I was pretty convinced,
That he had died.
well, after the funeral, and
Yeah,
they've had to
yeah.
drag Sam away from the graveside, and it's the next day. I mean, what's it been, 7 or 8 days since the dude died or something? And
Yep, because they don't let you in on the joke.
no.
No.
Absolutely.
So
I was
they did that
totally
well.
suck it in.
Yep. So there was that bit of dramatic tension as well. It's like, oh, what if he really is dead? And then Sam finally believes that he's dead, and then of course the prank drops, and
They get him a beauty.
yeah,
Yes, it was satisfying because, you want that relief at the end rather than them having to live with the misery.
yep.
I
And
like
at the
that.
very end, he's clutching at straws for some way to get Gary back for what's just happened. And what does he do? He picks up the bloody thumb and chases him out of the bar with it.
Waving the bloody thumb at him.
Yeah.
After he's been thoroughly outclassed and humiliated and trumped, it's been, yeah.
It was very good. Well chosen, Jeff.
Oh, thank you very much. So should it go into the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think that was great.
Oh, excellent. No worries. Well, there you go. That's another US sitcom in, and Cheers is in, and
Good day. See? The Halloween theme, it's working.
hooray! No, that's good. Nice to have a bit of a rebound. Okay, well, we're going to get going, but we'll be looking forward to your episode in around a fortnight's time.
Ooh, thanks.
Is it American?
It is.
It is? Oh, good. All right.
And that's all the information I'm going to give you.
Yeah, fair enough. No worries. All right. Well, thanks, Steve, and thank you for listening, dear listener, and we'll catch you next time.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Bye. Join us next time on Sitcom Showdown when we'll be putting another 5-star episode under the microscope. And in the meantime, you can contact us with feedback on Facebook, Twitter @Sitcom Showdown, or by email sitcomshowdown@gmail.com.